Hello, this is Greg Allison, Green Greg's, coming to you on 16 May 2021. Time on deck, 2030, 4600 hours, Central Daylight Time. Yes, the closing moments of the day. So I'll be posting this sometime during the day on the 17th. Now, Israel pulled a great deceptive trick attack on Hamas. And I got a question. Do they have a bigger trick up their sleeve? In fact, is this whole conflict a preparatory stage for them to actually conduct a larger attack? We're going to get into that in a moment. My friends, I'll bring you these stories as part of my Eyes Wide Open and Head on a Swivel series, because you need to know what's going on in the world so you can get ready, so that you can prepare. And I do a lot of videos on my channel about what's going on in the world in my Eyes Wide Open, Head on a Swivel series. And I also cover things on what you need to grow, how you need to prepare, like food, growing your own food, about eating for free from the weeds in the trees. And I've covered going to box stores and things you need to get. I've covered things like, water, how to prepare, how to clean, how to purify and sanitize your water. So there's a lot of things that I cover on this channel. Gardening, microgreens, and I'll be doing more of that in the future. And raising worms, which are very important for gardening again. A lot of videos on these topics. So if you want to go to a site for that, check out my channel, or go to greengregs.com, where I've actually condensed some videos in these certain subject matters, including wild edibles. So check those out. Now, oh yeah, by the way, if you're not subscribed to my channel, subscribe. Bang the update notification bell and click all so you can get all of my videos. Now, and beyond that, I got a real special deal for you real quick. You can get $50 off for a 4-week supply of 25-year lasting food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner that will make you a winner. And you can get $200 off if you buy a 3-month supply. $200 off a 3-month supply. Yes, 2,000 calories a day, 3 meals. Like I said, breakfast, lunch, and dinner with desserts and drinks also is a part of the mix. So it's an excellent deal. Go to prepwithgreg.com, prepwithgreg.com. It comes in these buckets. Yeah, this bucket's got inside each bucket, there's 2 weeks. You get 4 of these for 4 weeks. And if you're getting 3 months worth, yeah, you're getting 6 buckets. And these buckets are awesome. They're also very useful in themselves. Go to prepwithgreg.com, click the logo to go in for My Patriot Supply, to go in and find other offers, other deals, all kind of food and prepping supplies. But those specials you'll find at prepwithgreg.com. Okay, let's get on with this. So Israel pulled one over on the whole world, over the media, and they went up to the Gaza Strip with their tanks. They were revving engines, running around back and forth, kicking up dust. They had their artillery there, their troops there, and it looked for all the world like they were just about to go in and invade. And then they put out that they're invading, that they're in Gaza. So what happened? The Hamas, the Uber leader, the Hamas military, the Hamas soldiers, fighters, whatever you want to refer to them as, went into the metro system, their tunnels. Yes, Hamas had been building this vast network of tunnels underground, concrete fortified and everything, so that they could sneak out and hit the Israeli Defense Forces from behind, surprise attack them. But the Israelis already knew about this. The IDF already knew about it. And so they went in and made it look like they were about to go in, but they didn't. They told the whole world, they told the media of the world they were going in. Hence I did a report, said it had begun, because that's what everybody said. It was in all the news media. Everybody said that. Everybody thought it, but it didn't happen. Instead, Israel fooled Hamas. The Hamas, like I said, the Hamas elite fighters went into those tunnels, into that metro, and Israel pulled back and sent in 160 planes with bunker busting bombs and bombed the tickets out of those tunnels. They bombed that metro system relentlessly. And Hamas fighters that came out, well, they got it as they were coming out the tunnels. So they destroyed much of that network and a lot of the top fighters on the Hamas side. I'm not taking sides here, okay? I'm just telling you what happened. And the reason for this is it's not the point of this channel to take sides. It's the point of this channel to tell you to prepare and what it means for you down the road, okay? That's what this is all about. Now, we're going to talk about that. But there are bigger implications here. There are still rockets being fired from Hamas, but Israel is, I think they're getting pretty satisfied with what they've accomplished in their military objectives, because they've taken out a lot of the Hamas leadership, a lot of their infrastructure, a lot of their headquarters buildings. And even though Hamas still has a lot of resources, after this, they may be quite willing to go to the negotiating table. And in fact, Egypt may be the mediator of these negotiations. It seems to be starting up now. But why did Israel do this? So we're going to talk a lot about more. The attacks are still going on, so it may continue. In fact, Netanyahu said he would attack those tunnels until the job was done. Yeah. So what is really afoot here? Why is Israel? Okay, let me back up. Here's the question. All this supposedly started. What incensed Hamas? What it was that Muslims were being harassed at the Al-Aqsa Mosque there on what the Hebrews refer to, the Israelis refer to as the Temple Mount. And that greatly offended them. You know, Israel was celebrating their an anniversary of their taking over a good part of Jerusalem. And even that was offensive to the Arabs, but moreover, it was the harassment of the worshippers. And that really incensed them. And it warned Israel, and of course they knew Israel wasn't going to change what they were doing. So some people think Hamas started. Maybe they did, because there's evidence that Iran was goading them to do something, that Iran was talking about seemingly attacking Israel. And apparently this was a proxy thing where they were planning to use Hamas. So, there may be blame on both sides here, guys. And there's plenty of other history going back, including the eviction of a lot of Palestinian people from much of the Israeli lands. Today, a lot of those people live in Jordan, maybe a few in Syria and other places, but Jordan took a bunch of them. Some are still living on the West Bank and some in the Gaza Strip. And there are a few living there within Israel itself. So the Palestinians, a lot of them were ran off their lands. However you want to take that, if that happened right here, a lot of people probably would not be happy. But whatever you make of that, that's a respect to the point I'm making here. The point I'm making here is you got to prepare for what might be coming next. Because there have been a lot of suggestions for some time that Israel was wanting to hit Iran. But Israel probably deemed that there were too many missiles and Hamas was too strong, and if they hit Iran without covering their back door, that they'd be hit from behind. Basically, they're attacking over here and they're getting hit from behind. So maybe, just maybe, Israel decided to deal with Hamas before they dealt with Iran. That may be the deal. And this may be a sign that indeed they're preparing to attack Iran. I've said for some time that all this stuff with Syria was really to make sure that the left flank of Israel got softened up before they struck out. Well, so they're covering the rear flank now. Left flank, rear flank. Well, there's still plenty of forces there. And in fact, it's estimated that Hamas has 14,000 missiles supplied by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps Quds forces. And these missiles, or at least parts of them, some of it's built in Palestine, but the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps Quds forces set up rocket manufacturing facilities in Sudan to support the Gazans, Palestinians in Gaza, excuse me. So it's estimated the cost of these missiles, and part of it's smuggling costs of getting things into Gaza, but it runs from $300 to $300, $500, $800 a missile. And that's pretty cheap. So pretty cheap for missiles. So if you take it, and it's thought that Hamas has 14,000, and to date they've fired about 2,900 out of 14,000. So they got 14,000. At least in the missile world, they still have reserve and plenty to launch, unless some of those get destroyed by Israeli airstrikes. Now, so you might say, what did that cost? What's that cost? If you took just the average $500, 14,000 missiles, you're talking something like $7 million. That's a lot of money to the people living in the Gaza Strip. That's a lot of money. Those people are poor. Now, the Iron Dome defense system that Israel's using, the interceptors that go up and intercept those missiles that are being fired from Hamas, those things cost $50,000 to $100,000 a piece, and plus probably about a $1.6 billion development cost, initiated by Israel, but quite often funded by the United States, starting in the Obama administration. So it's gone across every administration, Republican, Democratic. It makes no difference. So this is what you got to bear in mind. Sometimes the administrations, yeah, whatever. So the fact is that, you know, Israel's got deeper pockets, and especially when they're picking our pockets here in the United States, right? For whatever it's worth or not. But my point again is that Israel may be doing all this to prep for hitting Iran. They want their back flank covered before they strike out in this way. They got to, you know, with Syria, they're softening that left flank. They're not totally taking everything out of there, but they're trying to soften it, supposedly. Now, Hezbollah, which it fires out of Lebanon and Syria, they're more directly supported those by Iran, has more sophisticated missiles. It costs more money. They have better guidance systems and longer ranges. Their longest range missiles apparently do not have guidance systems quite as well as some of the shorter range missiles, but they do have more expensive, more capable missile firepower from Hezbollah. But Hamas, you know, 14,000 missiles is nothing. You know, even if they're not accurate, that's a barrage. That's quite a barrage. They fired 2,900 already. That is a barrage. In fact, they were going for saturation effects against the Iron Dome system. The Iron Dome system has reportedly been over 90% effective. But, you know, out of 2,900, if it were 90% exactly effective, you'd expect 290 to get through. 290 is a lot of rockets to get through. A lot of rockets to get through. So, you know, damage can be done. It's like, you know, it's rocket-powered artillery, for Pete's sake. I mean, that's what we're talking about. And when you got these cheaper unguided rockets, now they may have a little bit of guidance to them, at least how they aim them and point them, kind of like artillery, but it's not as accurate as artillery, apparently, not when they're unguided. So there you are. Hamas has got a significant investment in this, but it's apparently been supplied and put up with mostly by the Iranians, which, or at least that's what is alleged by Israel. And Israel may use this as another excuse me, to attack Iran. I know they're itching for it. Of course, if Israel is going to do this through cooperation with countries like Saudi Arabia, they're going to have to make peace with the Gazans and settle things down and tap down the flames of the fire a little bit and try to smooth things over before they make that strike. You'd think, maybe. Or maybe Saudi Arabia will be so desperate after dealing with the Houthi rebels in Yemen, and you know, which are sponsored by Iran, and other attacks from Iranian proxies, that they might just go ahead and, you know, kind of cover up or covertly support an Israeli strike on Iran. Those are both set against the Iranians, although the people in Saudi Arabia are probably somewhat less than happy with Israel right now. All over the Arab world, people are really upset with Israel for the way they're stacking on the Gaza Strip. And you can see that people are actually coming to the borders of Israel, Jordan, Lebanon, and other countries to protest. So, and there's allegations that maybe this will create a larger war. Well, if Israel's planning to hit Iran, or if Iran, as I reported earlier, might be interested in striking Israel first, then if each one is engaging each other to say who hits first, I mean, the advantage goes to the one that strikes first. So who knows? As I said, I do not expect ground forces from either Israel or Iran are going to invade each other. No, we're talking planes and missiles. From Iran, missiles. From Israel, planes and missiles. So we're talking about not a ground invasion force kind of thing. And again, like I said in my previous video, just because, you know, firing missiles and planes and bombing and attacking, and some people don't consider war unless ground forces move in. What is that? I mean, if you looked at Gaza Strip, you would very much think it was under attack of war. Man, if you were standing in Israel and hearing those sirens and all that stuff coming at you, you would think you were under attack of war. So there you go. Let me tell you, yeah, my friends, there's good and bad people in every country, from every background, every race, and creed, and color, religion, good and bad. People are the same in a core. Now, people may be led to certain ideologies and things to a good extent. There's people in every country that will give you the shirt off their back. There are people who will bend over to help you out, as long as you're not trying to jab them. So, I've got good friends from all over the world, from every religion, every race, every color there are. So just bear that in mind. It's not who they are. It's the leaders and the people that marshal things together and divide people against each other and cause these things to happen. And for some people, but there's other causes and other reasons that go back decades here. This is a feud. And, so I'm blame however you will. The bottom line is the world may be at risk because a war between Israel and Iran stands the chance of drawing in Iranian allies like China and Russia. And the fact that we're already pitting against Iran is an indicator it may draw in the United States. So there you have it. This could escalate. It could escalate quite a bit. This could be even in the Mideast. This could be a war between the Shias and the Sunnis. And the Shias are, represented by Iran. There's some in Saudi Arabia, but Saudi Arabia is run by Sunnis. There are, Shias in Syria, for example. Iraq, southern Iraq is Shia, northern Iraq, middle Iraq is Sunni, and northern Iraq is Kurds, which probably sympathize, probably none of them. Kurds have been picked on by everybody, but their alliances are going to go with whatever gives them independence. That's what they want. So there's a lot of different agendas going on here. Of course, Erdogan, Recep Erdogan, the president of, I don't know if president's a good term, of Turkey. Yeah, he's the one that set his own caliph up. He wants to reestablish the Ottoman Empire. So he don't care anything about Israel, but he hates Iran too. So Russia and Erdogan, Putin and Erdogan have been talking about punishing Israel. What does this mean? Is this Gog Magog that we've often read about? I don't know. I'm not going to say. All I'm going to say is this. The world's going crazy. This is one powder keg, or one more powder keg in the pile of powder kegs. Fuses everywhere. Matches being thrown around. Not a good thing. Not a good thing. You look at all the tensions in the South China Sea, the East China Sea. You look at all the tensions in Korea. You look at the tensions in Ukraine, maybe even the Baltics. Yeah, there's a lot that could go somewhere other than where we'd like to see it. And that's why you need to prepare. The first thing you need to do to prepare is to make yourself centered. Be right with your Creator spiritually. Let your family know that you love them. Draw your family in, your inner circle, your friends. You never know what might happen the next day. Everything can change in an instant. It might just be an automobile accident, like I had the 19th of April, where I was driving along and everything was hunky-dory one second, and then the next second somebody stops in front of me in the middle of the road to make a right-hand turn. Okay, I slow down, I stop. Guy behind me didn't have that in mind. Not until the last minute, too little too late. He rear-ended me, and that drove me into a actually a light pole. I was lucky. I'm still here. I'm still crutching around a little bit, but I'm still here. Yeah, I still got some pain. Not 100% yet. I'll get there though. Yeah, I've got my ankles been hurting me, my back, lower back. It did get whiplash, but I'm recovering. I will recover. That's a fact. So, and the only reason I bring that up is that just to let you know that things can change in an instant. The whole world can turn upside down in an instant. And this can happen in our personal lives or with national and international relations. One little mistake, one little incident, and boom, the world can go crazy in an instant. You never know. Or natural things can take our world into craziness, like coronal mass ejection, the sun taking down our grid. EMPs could take down our grid, of course. many things, and taking down a grid is a really catastrophic event. Even if you live off the grid and think you're covered, just wait till the hordes start pouring out of the cities and all that nasty stuff starts seeping out of all the spent fuel rod pools when they start catching on fire because they've evaporated all the water. They can't pump without electricity. Not a pretty picture. Not a pretty picture at all. So let's hope that don't happen. I do believe in the power of prayer. And if you believe in prophecy, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't pray, meditate, and look for a better outcome for yourself, your friends, your family, and the world itself even. You know, God gave, God had Jonah to prophesy against cities that were set for destruction, and they repented and were saved. Jonah didn't want to carry that message according to the Old Testament of the Bible. Whether you believe that or not, I'm just saying that, things can change, and our intent has a lot to do with it, our power and prayer and meditation. So take that or leave it. I don't care what you do. But, like I said, you need to be right with your maker. You need to prepare. You need to grow your own food. You can go to True Leaf Market. I got links in my videos to True Leaf Market and buy seeds from. I would highly encourage that, and to grow your own garden. I'll be selling ones again in not too awful distant future. I've just had a hiccup in my relaunching my business, but I'll be back. So we'll get things rolling. Just bear with me. I got a lot of irons in the fire, my friends. A lot of irons in the fire. Also, check out. Look, we need to organize groups because you got to have people to have your back. You can't do it as a lone wolf. So we're organizing our tribes, and we got a tribe in Arkansas. We got a tribe in Arizona. We got a tribe in Alabama, and I think we may have one in Maine. So and maybe some others popping up. So I'm leaving the tribal leads to contact the people we'll start forwarding information on. We're still working that. So, guys, if you want to get involved in that, and if you want to be part of a survival community, whatever you want to call it, survival community, tribe, you can go by many names, resilient community, but just email me at info@freedomrestorationfoundation.org. Check below and put tribe in the subject line. If you're interested in joining the Freedom Restoration Foundation, which I highly encourage you, put freedom in the subject line. All right. We're trying to make a difference in this world. And check out our website, freedomrestorationfoundation.org. A lot of good information there. How to contact your congressman, your representatives, how to talk to them, how to find them at both state and federal levels. Yeah, and a whole lot about what's going on in the legislative world there. A lot of legislation that's going through the system. So there's a lot of information there. And also, like I say, go to greengregs.com, and you'll find a lot of videos about wild edibles, gardening, and raising worms. So, my friends, I think there's also aquaponics and microgreens under the gardening section. All right, friends, enough said about all these things. Bear in mind that the whole point of this is that Iran might actually attack Israel, or Israel might attack Iran. And even if nobody else got involved, if they went nuclear, there's enough weapons, at least on the Israeli side, that might put us into a climatic shift for a decade or so, a mini nuclear winter, enough so that it could cause massive crop failure and starvation and increased UV coming in because of depletion of ozone layer from this stuff. That could happen. So we don't know how that would escalate, where that would go. Let's hope that don't happen. I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying you need to be prepared because there's so many things that can happen. And hey, you know what? Prepare is not such a bad thing. You know why? So you buy 25-year lasting food. Well, 20 years from now, with the way inflation's going right now, that's going to be worth some money. I'd consider that a good investment. It's one you can eat. Can you eat gold? Can you eat silver? Can you eat copper? Well, yes, you use copper for electricity, and you can eat others too. Although they're a little bit expensive to make wires out of gold and silver, but it'll work. Use gold for contact points, a lot of electronics. All right, my friends, enough said about all these things. Just bear in mind, we live in perilous times, but we also live in exciting times. If we can get through these times, we could have a great future. But we got to make sure that we can secure our peace and our prosperity, and we all got to learn how to get along at some point, or we won't survive at all. All humanity needs to learn how to get along. So what I tell everybody in my channel is that as light dispels darkness, love dispels hate. So shine your love light to the world. And so I know you watched this first at Greg. I'll shine my light. All right. And with that, I'll say a good night. Although it's going to be daytime when y'all see this. So I do have hope. And I will tell you one final thing. Never, ever, ever panic. Change you nothing. You lose your head, then you'll lose your head. So never panic. Stay centered. Stay focused. That's how you get away and not panic. Now, you've done your best job prepping. Now, you've done everything you can to help your family, your friends. You've alerted them. And then, there's only so much you can do. But keep your head on your shoulders in more ways than one. Don't panic. Never. All right, my friends. Thank you for watching.